You know, for every leader, there is a style. And for most leaders, they want to lead from the front and sometimes from the back. When occasion demands, the leader has to come out and address his people directly. And that's what His Excellency, the Governor of Akwa Ibom State, has done for the past years. And we've been having this program, The Governor Speaks. As a matter of fact, this is the 8th in the series. I doubt if any other person has done that. So we give kudos to His Excellency, the Governor of Akwa Ibom State, for always being available to explain policies and issues of governance to his people. Today on the program, our front burning issues are security, COVID-19, and of course, you know that His Excellency has spent 6 years in office. In the second term, this is the second year, and it's going to be the midterm scorecard for His Excellency. We're going to be taking questions, dwelling on all these issues. This program is going to be on all the radio stations, or rather, happens to be on all the radio stations in our Akwa Ibom State, on AKBC television. We are online of course, on mobile. We're also trending on all the official website of the Akwa Ibom State government. And so we are set to roll the ball. We'll ask His Excellency questions here in the studio, and then later on we'll give you, the good people of Akwa Ibom State, and in fact the citizens of the world, from anywhere you are in the world, to ask His Excellency any question you have bordering on government. My name is James Edith, and with me here in the studio today happens to be 3 great broadcasters. Edi Ekwenyong happens to be the station manager of Comforts FM, based here in Akwa Ibom State. Edi, welcome to the program.
Thank you very much.
And the head of presentations at the Radio Akwa Ibom, Mrs. Eunice Egarefa. Welcome to the program.
Thank you so very much.
And of course, one gentleman that's very active on the social media is a social media advocate, Udom Emmanuel. He will be linking us globally with phone calls, online connections, and all that. Udom Emmanuel, welcome to the program.
Thank you very much.
And gentlemen and lady, at a time when women are being celebrated, Eunice, you are privileged to sit face to face with His Excellency, the Governor of Akwa Ibom State. Your Excellency, it's a pleasure to have you on the program this evening.
Thank you, James. And let me first of all thank God for all our Akwa Ibomites in Nigeria, in the diaspora, in Akwa Ibom State, in any other part of this country. I want to thank God for your life, that we are all alive to participate in this media chat. It's just by the grace of God. That's all I can say, judging from what is happening all over the world. So I can only say it's just by the special grace of God. So I thank God for all your lives, and I pray that the same God will sustain and keep all of you strong, and all of us will make progress by God's grace. In Jesus' mighty name.
Amen.
Amen.
Thank you, Excellency. Yes, Your Excellency, usually we have a template on this program. We dedicate the first 10 minutes to what we call the executive encounter. Since the last time we met, Your Excellency, can you tell Akwa Ibom people some topical issues, some of the very positive things you've done? The smart building is out there. We are very proud of it. People have talked about the flyover, and progress is being made. There's so many issues happening about governance. Before we start asking questions, you have the floor, Your Excellency.
Let me once again welcome James, Eddie, Mrs. Eunice, and Udom Emmanuel.
Thank you, Your Excellency.
Welcome. Let me be the one now welcoming you people to the program. First of all, let me start with issues. Let me say issue at this point in time, one, but that had a own spread, which is COVID-19. The last time we met, it dominated our discussions, or the last few meetings. For today, I just want to say that please let us not lose sight. Let us still be so much on alert. It is just by the grace of God that we are where we are today. I keep saying so. If you remember the predictions of, what do you call that woman? Is it Melinda or Belinda Gates? That she pities Africa. That unfortunately all the streets of Africa will be littered with human bodies. But who is he that said it, and it cometh to pass, when the Lord God Almighty has not commanded? Today, in Nigeria, we've not done anything special. No credit should go to any man. All glory must go to God, that those evil predictions have not come to pass. Be that as it may, as human beings, we must do our own part. God will always want us to do our own part. There's always a responsibility on us as human beings. Number one, protect yourselves. And what do I mean by that? Please still follow the COVID protocol. It is not yet gone. I'm sure if you watch all over the world, there's a whole lot. People talk so much about the vaccine and other steps made by developed nations. You know, the whole life revolves around faith. That's why immediately COVID started, I came up with a broadcast, and I titled that broadcast, Faith Over Fear. Today, you have a paracetamol. You're taking that paracetamol strictly by faith. Why? Because they tell you take paracetamol or any other analgesic, it will heal you of headache. And we all take it. And by that faith, if you take it, you don't feel the headache anymore. Human beings had come up, oh, these are the vaccines, scientifically proven. Whatsoever is done by man is man through the wisdom of God. But you still need to do a whole lot as a person. Personal hygiene, those COVID protocols. Please, we cannot lay down our guards until we totally overcome. And let me also thank those who have made efforts to also get vaccinated in the state. We are not forcing anybody, as I keep saying, but be rest assured, no more free lunch. In the past, almost over a year, we've been treating COVID patients free without charging them even ₦1. And you could see that in other places, once you fall under the positive outcome of the test of COVID, a lot of them take care of themselves, take care of their expenses and so on. But we have to show our Ibomites how we respond to issues like this and how much we also love them in order to make sacrifices to get things to work out. But today we cannot continue indefinitely. Whatsoever has a beginning must also have an end. The beginning of that free treatment and so on, I think we've tried for over a year now. So please take the vaccine, obey the COVID protocol, because we may not continue with those level of treatment. It costs us a whole lot of money to treat one patient who is COVID positive. And we believe people will not lay down their guard so that this will not ravage us again. But our prayer is, no matter how they call the new variant, and I used to hear about variants in mathematics. I'm only hearing about it now in terms of pandemic. So no matter how we call it, our prayer is let it not reach us as a country. Because I don't think we can handle it, judging from what we are seeing in other places of the world. Let God help us, but we must also try to take all precautionary measures of people. Getting into the main issue of governance. You can't be good at everything. People know that I'm not good at boasting so much. It's intentional, because as a human being, once you get into fanning yourself so much, I, you take the glory of God Almighty. Because Paul Apostle says, it's by the grace of God that I am who I am. It's by the grace of God all our accomplishments are in place. So in the course of probably trying to play so much politics, I've done this, we've done this, we've done that, at times people tend to take the glory to themselves, and I don't want to make that mistake. I try to acknowledge the Almighty, who gives all the power, who makes all the accomplishment possible. But be that as it may, I want to say here, as government, if you look at the agenda we set for ourselves, the 5-point agenda in 2015, the 8-point completion agenda that we started with in 2019, I think it was a newspaper company or electronic medium that asked me, how would you rate yourself? I said, even though we've gone through terrible recession, coupled with the pandemic, that I can say here that we've scored not less than 85%. Because we've been able to at least weather the storm in almost all the sectors and subsectors that we owe as a social responsibility and as a right to our people. take it all. In terms of health, I think we've done very, very well. Education, we're not there yet, but if you look at the foundation we are laying, I think we're on the right track. I know a lot of people today is going to ask me a lot of questions about AXU. I'm going to answer all your questions. So in terms of education, we've done a whole lot. In terms of social investments, youth empowerment, women empowerment, I've just finished stakeholders meeting, trying to let them know that it's yet to be a government that has paid attention to this social investment like we do, or soft infrastructure, as the case may be. Then you go to the main policy thrust of our industrialization aim, which started with the major 3 gateways of air, sea, and land. I think if you come to that, I can even score myself more than 90%, or score the administration more than 90%. Why? Take the A, we've dominated completely. Even our airline won the best airline in 2020, and we're marching forward. And very soon, we are going to unveil a whole lot of the second phase of our blueprint on what Ibom is going to be, how we're going to dominate the regional routes. What we're going to do? You can see that we are following Ibom airline based on the book. So we've captured the A. Let me stop there until I take questions. Coming to the land, let people challenge us. How many kilometers of roads have we done and that are ongoing? Then look at, even in terms of dualized thoroughfare, sit in Uyo to Ikorek Bene, done by this administration. We would have commissioned it immediately. We want JB to do the outfall drain so that we can take water off where people live or where people will live in the nearest future. Because you know, infrastructure we are building, we are not just building for today. We build with 50 years in mind. Coming back to sit again in Uyo, you can, by the time we finish, you can from Uyo reach Atlantic Ocean on dualized thoroughfare. Judge the number of kilometers. Check all the other local government areas. By the time you finish from the airport, if you're going to run, veer off between that airport junction up to Okobo, dualized thoroughfare. We're almost there. So then the entry points of the city, which is from the airport, you can see we're expanding. Beautiful flowers. By the time we finish, the kind of lightings and the flowering and the, you know, and the way we manicure the whole median and the designs of different roundabouts we have there, and even the third ring road roundabout, what we're going to do there is going to just be excellent. So, I mean, these are things we are planning. We've not even finished even what I call the terminal building, which is going to be the smartest terminal building in the entire region. I would have said the whole of Africa, but because I've not taught all, I don't want to make that mistake, but I stand to be challenged that if it doesn't surpass, it will match any other, but for the fact that it's the latest. So we are deploying the latest technology to make it the smartest terminal, airport terminal building that we have in the whole continent, because it's going to be the latest. Everything we have there, you can see the quality, you can see the design, you can see the standard. By the time we get to finishing, and then also what it takes to provide security and comfort for passengers, that will go a long way. Then you get into the water, which is the next phase of what wraps that up. Today, we are doing a whole lot, trying to partner with so many of our, foreign direct investors. We thank Mr. President thank Federal Executive Council for approval for us to commence the construction of the deep sea port. That approval is one step. After the approval, there are a lot of surveys, a lot of consultancy services, so many things that will be done that you cannot begin to see physically. The construction is the last of all the phases. I know people are just waiting to see you hit the ground. No, not in terms of port development. It doesn't work like that. They will do a whole lot of things, and after that, we'll go to what we call breakwaters, which people onshore might not even see. So these are some of the stages that will be going on, which people might not see. So by the time we get into onshore development, I mean, everything would have been in line with a digital port service that we want to render, and also the most modern port in the entire sub-Saharan Africa. So those things will take care of the 3 gateways that I always mention. And I will take questions. I might not be able to count all the roads, and I stand to be corrected. Let any local government area call me today on phone and tell me in my local government, this administration had not done one development or the other in that local government, then I'm ready to take that question today. So we've been able to touch all. Very unlike probably what you see in other places, or what people complain when we started this administration. There were some local government areas that for almost 30 years of existence of our Akwa Ibom as a state, they did not experience 1 kilometer of road constructed by the state government. One. I can name some of those, but I don't want to do that now. But you see, I want to say here that in all level of assessment, all glory to God, mighty again, not man, that we've done well in the midst of the fact that this is one administration that had gone through 3 major setbacks, 2 big economic recessions, and a pandemic that has ravaged the entire universe. It takes a whole lot for us to survive that and still be where we are today as a force to be reckoned with, based on our economic foundation, our push for industrialization of this state, and also to move from a pure civil service state to a state that private sector will have a whole lot to do. And so much that we're putting on ground in terms of infrastructure, in terms of other soft infrastructure that people might say hard infrastructure, soft infrastructure, capacity development that we are trying to put in place. So we are beginning to see this foundation, and we will lay a whole lot before we leave office. So let me not talk so much, and let others follow in terms of questions that I will take from you guys and those that will phone in. Don't follow social media. Ask the governor. Let the governor answer you directly with facts and figures. And what you hear from me will be nothing but the truth. So don't follow what, I watched one video. I don't know how many of you watched that video. A sitting governor saying, oh, this is how we push PDP out of office. Even when the PDP president at that time was doing something good, they would say, no, he wasn't doing something good, he was doing something wrong. Even when they are doing the right thing, they would say he was doing the wrong thing. Even when they were doing well, they would say they were not doing well. Why? Because they were in opposition. I don't think that's the right approach that we have to adopt in Akwa Ibom. If you don't have the mouth to commend, don't have the mouth also to condemn. Because the mouth that commends must be the mouth that condemns. So we must balance the game in order for us to have a very peaceful, united Akwa Ibom that will march forward from strength to strength. I welcome all of you to your questions and to those who are phoning in. Thank you, James.
Thank you, Excellency. Thank you so much, Eddie. I think you have the gray hair here, so you should throw that way. So you should fire the first salvo.
Thank you very much. I feel privileged to be given the opportunity to fire the first question. Now, Your Excellency, you have confirmed what James said at the intro, that this program started at in the wake of COVID-19 pandemic. It was regular, and it's received popular mass acclaim. Suddenly, it wasn't on air again, and there were calls, concerns on why the program was not regular, was not on at all. And in fact, the calls became almost strident with the current security situation in the states. What happened? The governor went in a war?
Eddie, let me start by saying that the governor is also a human being. He has flesh, has blood. Nobody could have gone through what we went through as a state, and it won't be devastated. Paul Apostle said so. He said, we are troubled on all sides. So we're troubled. We are human beings. A governor, Christmas Eve, I was hit by the fact that the DG of my campaign on both first term, second term passed on Christmas Eve afternoon. It wasn't quite long from then. I lost my immediate past commissioner for lands in the hospital in Germany upon all the efforts that I put in to save his life. Before we could break that news, we lost a very illustrious elder statesman of this state, Air Marshal Nzika Adwo. As we were just about coming out of that, I was badly hit by the demise of our late party chairman, Honorable Udom Emmanuel. I'm just but a human being. I don't want to mention other probably losses that we had, because those ones are purely family. I can't bring that one to the stage of administration. That shouldn't affect my work. But these are pure state issues. So no matter what, the governor is also a human being. So once you're that hit, I certainly, you might be down, but you might not be out. So you're allowed, as a person, to also have that emotional pains as a human being. I think I went through a lot of emotional pains, and if you check, I finished all those burials. The last person I buried was a party chairman on March 26th. So if you check between March 26th, it's only in April we didn't do the program. And in April, you are a witness to see the security challenges across the 36 states of Nigeria. It's not only one state. It's only when something comes to our own state, we want to do as if we are super uno. We are not. We're in the same country. And as a state governor, we don't control policies. I can't even tell a police commissioner what, if he does it because he's a nice man. He doesn't do it because based on structure. He's supposed to take instructions from me. So the whole country, we had terrible security challenges in the month of April. So we needed to weather the storm, calm things down, and then before I come up to talk to my people. If you don't do that, you're not leading from the front, as people always want you to. So lead from the front. It's not, in life, people that talk too much at times might be very poor in execution. I'm a strategist. I'm good at execution. Not too good in talking too much. Let me be good in execution, but let me not do so well in too much talking. So I think that's what you see mostly. And I think, in a nutshell, that accounted for a very short recess, if you might call it, based on your question. But that did not mean that we didn't still have other platforms. If you also check, we're doing regular executive council meetings. And every single week, the Commissioner for Information must come out to brief the whole world on what actions, decisions, and resolutions that will reach at the executive council meeting. So I think that was also a platform of the government speaking to the people. It shouldn't just be one direction. I know people who also want to hear my voice, and the voice is here. So let me take the areas of questions that they have.
Okay, Eunice.
Your Excellency, my question borders on my gender, though I'm not being genderized here. It has to do with the young lady whose remains today was interred. She became a prey to the predator who raped and murdered her. And there's been discordant reports surrounding the incident. Now, as the Chief Security Officer of the state, we would like that you can please give us updates on the situation.
Thank you, Eunice. Let me start by saying here, as a people, this one is not just as only government. As a people, irrespective of your political party, religion, gender, we all in absolute, one voice condemn that act completely, 100%. It's not in our character. That's not Akwa Ibomite that we are known for. That's not Akwa Ibomite that we live for. That's not Akwa Ibomite that we want to actually leave behind for the next generation. So we totally condemn that. But let me say here that as a law-abiding citizen of this country, we are not allowed to speak anyhow based on sentiments. At this level, we are allowed to speak based on facts, not sentiments. We are not just allowed to speak based on rumors, or we are not allowed to speak based on gossips. We are allowed to speak based on intelligence. So, based on those few situations I've analyzed to you right now, as a state governor, we are doing everything humanly possible to unravel the mystery behind the murder of that girl. And let me say here that I will leave no stone unturned to unravel the mystery behind it. The reason I've not addressed the state is because the police, the SSS, and all level of security intelligence, they are doing their own investigations right now. And I can assure you, take for example, the lady in charge of State Investigation Bureau, she must be biased towards the gender that you're talking about. The Deputy Commissioner of Police in charge of is a lady. So I don't see how she can let things like this go. All the women folk will descend on her. So she has a double responsibility to do her work, first of all, as Deputy Commissioner of Police, and also to do her work as a woman. Because women are a little bit sensitive about this, their gender thing, and we must tread with caution to make sure that we pamper them the way they want and give as much attention as much as they want on gender issues. That's why we passed the law on protection of these, gender-based laws, so many that we've signed of recent, passed by the House of Assembly, which have also signed to law, in order to, protect the right of the girl child, protect the women, and protect, they seem to be softer. We're not the ones saying so. Even the Bible says that we must treat them nicely and with all amount of love. So please be rest assured. You know me, when it gets to the point that I give assurance in this magnitude, know that I'm all out and we'll do everything possible. And my sincere condolences once again to the family of the young lady. I heard all kinds of write-ups. Oh, if government had provided job. In America, they have over 350 million human beings in America. I don't know what percentage of that is government providing a job for. So I don't know how a state government will provide job for everybody. Even the people writing, they themselves, instead of, just sitting there, how many, you can create something. You can create something to also employ. Government alone cannot do when it comes to the issue of employment. There's no government on planet Earth that had employed all citizens. How will government pay? Who are the other people that will take care of other sectors of the economy? So at times when people write this, I follow these words of Jesus Christ on the cross. He said, Father, forgive them, for they know not. People don't know where politics ends and where governance begins. I think people should learn to do that. Telling the government, if you are provided, how many factories have we set up? How many industries have we started? If Akwa Ibom State had been like that from the day, from 1987 till today, we've set up as much factories and industries the way this administration has pursued. By now, I'm telling you, private sector would have dominated the whole state. Look at how many factories we've set up. And today we've just announced a lot more. People don't want to see, that's why it did not start today. That's why Jesus Christ says, even in John's Gospel, he said, you people may not even understand, but hereinafter. Why? Because even at the present time he was doing what was the present, people still condemned it. So let people tell me, if ever since this state was created, we pursued the economic agenda the way we are pursuing this administration, trust me, the entire economy of Akwa Ibom State today would have been one of the strongest. After all, California is the sixth largest economy of the whole world, and it's just a state in America. I read even during pandemic when New York, as a state, was lamenting that the internal revenue during COVID in a month dropped to $16 billion US. What's the total reserves of Nigeria? For a state of New York, 1 month revenue, $16 billion US, and they were complaining. So what's the total reserves of Nigeria? So I believe that when people say this, they don't just want to assess. And you go outside, people are just very happy with the state. Not with me, with the state. That today, the best syringe that can be used anywhere in Nigeria comes from Akwa Ibom. Our people don't see it. Today, the best quality of flour that we use to bake bread and so on is from Akwa Ibom. The issue is about production, not sales. Today, you go out, people will tell you the best meter, meter that people, electric meter that people use is from Akwa Ibom. Today, you go out, people will tell you the plywood they are using around here, they came to Akwa Ibom to buy it. And so many others that will count. Then we even, after that, went ahead to set up a cottage industrial yard for medium and small scale people. Plastic, even as at last ESCO, we're just approving a biro. Why are we approving a biro? Because, whosoever wants to probably help the less privileged, or those ones we used to call indigent students, you can still do something. If you want to help the primary school or secondary school in your village, you can just walk up to the plastic factory and order biros and give to those students or pupils. They will have something to write in school. So these are some of the things we provided. Today we've announced that give us maximum a year from today, we'll launch a tomato puree factory. Why? Because we want to encourage the village women, or those, not necessarily those who are in the villages, even any person who is involved in vegetable, either pepper or tomato or cucumber, that we have a factory. So that whatsoever you cannot sell that day in the market will not waste. You can now move it to the factory, then we blend it into the puree, and then we can them and we export. And our people earn a living. So, I mean, we are thinking about our people day in, day out, and it doesn't stop there. Look at even the training we are giving to some of these 3,000 youths and so on. People are trying to throw in spanner. If you don't develop human capacity, how will we compete in the 21st century? So, I'm just trying to extend that to cover the fact that people who write what they are writing in the social media might not actually understand the economic structure of what a state should be like. And we are doing a whole lot. Back to that thing, I commiserate with the family, and I assure the whole world that police will not fail us, SSS will not fail us, all other agencies will not fail us. What they are doing in terms of investigation will get us to where we can actually allow the hammer of the law to fall on those that will be found guilty, not innocent person. Thank you.
Thank you, Excellency. And let us also commend the state government under your leadership for the proactive measure you took about that matter when it came on. The Secretary to Government, you were out. The Secretary to Government led a high-powered delegation, and it was quite a very emotional moment when they met with that family. And like you said, may the soul of that lady rest in perfect peace. Let's move away from that very emotional. I could see how emotional you were while talking about that. And go to another area I know you have been very passionate about. Education, education, education. And when we talk about education, let's link that with the human capital side of that. Your Excellency, some time ago, Akwa was in the news for the recruitment of 1,000 teachers. It's been trending. Some of these questions are the questions we've taken from online. Exams were taken, and people were expecting that along the line, the result will come out, and maybe these teachers, the 1,000 teachers, will be announced, and they will start work. Related to that, Your Excellency, still under education, permit me to ask two questions. It's about the issue of gratuity to retired primary school teachers. So many stories have come out about this. The other week, someone who calls himself the chairman of retired teachers and next of kin in the primary school came out to make some statement about this recruitment exercise, Your Excellency, and this pension and this gratuity to retired primary school teachers. What is the true situation? Akwa people would like to hear from their governor.
Thank you, James. Let me start with the issue of recruitment of teachers. I read somewhere where, a mischief maker was trying to mislead people that when we came into the office, we canceled the first recruitment, and now we're only doing 1,000. That's pure and out of mischief. I made an announcement. I wasn't satisfied with the process. You know, no matter what you do, no matter how good it is, those who want to turn it negative will always turn it. When I discovered that the process was not transparent and could not give the kind of, I pledged to the people that a teacher at that moment I will recruit will be a teacher that can also teach my child. I couldn't go for anything less. So it wasn't the people that we canceled, it was the process. We told the same set of people, fine, come back and go through the normal process. Write a test. How can you say you want to teach people, you are going to use English language to teach the people? And let me also leak the secret to you. The exams we set back to those people to write was a common entrance exams into secondary school. And it might interest you that so many of them failed. I'm not kidding. So many of them failed. Why? Because, people don't know that we have people, inspectors, who even go into schools, check what is written on the board. Then, immediately we started that process. James, let me tell you that people who could not have opportunity, we gave them opportunity. They wrote. On the spot, we hired 3,500 teachers, all payrolled. We can prove that immediately. After that, they came up to me that there were certain major courses that we did not have teachers. We also approved. I can't remember the exact number. I think it was additional 1,000 that we approved without making so much noise. The 1,000 you're talking about that they wrote the exams, and up to now we've not released those that have been taken. You know, number one, we wanted 1,000 secondary school teachers at that time. Over 35,000 people applied. And we've not yet developed a software for recruitment, because if we had a what we call human manager software, people would have gone to apply through that human manager. Everything would have been done through human manager, but we've not done that yet as a state, because it's a very robust program. So we have to go through process of this. In the process of doing that, the primary school, the local government, the basic education at the local government level came up to us that it's not only secondary school, they too, they don't think they have enough teachers. That secondary school is even better in that whenever we have youth corpus, we used to, bridge the gap. I mean, no matter the present economic situation, we were touched that if we have declared emergency on education and we don't have enough teachers, we must look at that immediately. So we held onto the secondary school, advertised the primary school, another 1,000, so that we can do the two simultaneously. You see, people just say things, I wish people can look at the sincerity of purpose in what we do rather than playing politics, trying to insult the governor in everything. So that's how we paused and said, look, can we also do another 1,000 for primary school? Since they say they too, they don't have enough teachers. James, that's what caused slight delay. You know that when it gets to the third tier of government, it's not 100% under the control of a governor. They go to their own statutory, they have their own statutory allocation meeting, they have everything on their own, and you must be able to carry them along. Because at the end of the day, the responsibility to carry those salaries must go to the third tier of government, different from the state government, which is the local government. So a governor does not have absolute power over local government, no, based on the constitution. It's a third tier of government. You don't exercise that. So you can only try to to intervene in matters for the interests of the entire state, which is what we are doing. Unfortunately, Africa is where we don't realize that to do something good takes time. If something is so much in a rush, trust me, it might not last. But something that will last will take time. Recruitment of teachers, that we want it to be devoid of certain abuses. You must take time to do the right thing. And actually, why we couldn't just bring out only secondary school alone is because we want to also do 1,000 for secondary school, 1,000 for primary school, 2,000. So once the local government conclude the processes of that, I think we'll be able to. And the first hurdle had actually been passed, which is the test. So we used the result of the test to invite a fewer number for a second process. And after that, I think they will do what they're supposed to do. And mind you, everything about civil service, local government service commission, has its own template fall under. It's not of the state government, but of the local government. So whatever we've done in the past, mind you, House of Assembly had to approve for us to start, first of all, with 10 years that started from 2002. I'm sure you will know that 2002 is not just 2012. And we cleared the first 10 years, and since then we've been going through. The same people who are complaining today, if we were to go on demonstration of the non-payment of gratuity of primary school teachers, I think I should lead that demonstration. Because up to today, my mother's gratuity has also not been paid, and I'm the next of kin. So the third tier of government have not also paid me. So probably the next one, I should be the one to carry the placard. But I will not do that because I know the times and season that we are in. So let people give us credit. This is the same state that when we came in, even leave allowances of local government, we had a whole lot of backlog. Today we've cleared the whole of those leave allowances. When we came in, primary school teachers, the pensioners, did not receive arrears of pensions in several years. We took pains to clear, and this is the same purpose. So many states in Nigeria went and collected bailout funds, and we have been able to clear pensions. There's no state, including the federal government of Nigeria today, that will tell you that they are up to date with gratuity payment. None, not even one. Quote me anywhere. Gratuity. And we are one of the very few states in this country that we are up to date with pensions payment. So let people not just think that we leave our responsibility as a second tier of government and carry 100% the responsibility of the third tier of government. However, because it's the same Akwa Ibom state, people don't know the difference. From time to time, I use this opportunity to also appreciate my House of Assembly members for their understanding. For the fact that they approve that we should intervene as a state government does not put the responsibilities on them. But you can see often they will approve for me to intervene, even when we don't have money. And people must also understand, in the past 2 months, even the allocations they receive as a local government is not enough to pay their salaries. Have they even bothered to know how did they get all paid, both salaries and pensions, even when the allocation, these things are published? Don't mind the mischief makers who will just go into the social media and write what they don't know. People should know the difference between what you're supposed to get and what you actually get. Let me put it that way. Let me not go to the matter of gross and net. What you're supposed to get, in most cases, may not necessarily be equal to what you actually get. Because there could be other past due obligations that could be taken at source. But people don't know that. So, when people just agitate for this, I'm number one next of kin. But people must also understand that local government, the third tier of government, cannot handle this in one swoop. It has to be gradual. Today, we've cleared all the leave allowances, we brought it to date, we've cleared all the pensions up to date, so they are facing gratuity gradually. But that should not mean that because you just want to be seen to pay gratuity to next of kin, you must stop payment of salaries, stop payment of pensions, stop payment of other allowances to both the primary school teachers and local government workers. It does not work that way. It's not a good financial management system. So let's just follow through. It's a very trying moment for the whole country. In fact, for the whole world, not just only in Nigeria. Go into the, I don't want to quote social media here. Go into any authoritative source. You see that even so many corporate bodies are defaulting. Have these people ever even bothered to check what is going on in other places? I know there are some states that for several months, they've not even paid pensioners. Even 1 month, pension, not to talk of gratuity. They've not even paid salaries. And I remember last month when the Commissioner for Information came up to educate the people that, look, ExxonMobil had a fire incident in their own facility. And that they declared a force majeure, and that will affect our revenue. Oh my God, people went to town, abusing the governor left, right, and center that the governor does not want to pay salary. It might interest you to know that we were one of the, I don't like to say I was the only, no, that we were one of the very first states to pay salaries that month, even without going for statutory allocation meeting. We paid salaries and pension, even before going for statutory allocation meeting. Has it ever bothered people to find out, this governor, is he performing magic? Is it a miracle? Where did he get money to pay? I asked a question today when we were doing the stakeholders meeting, that let people go and check how much money at the House of Assembly ever approved for me for Ibom Air outside their share capital. It might interest you to know I've not collected one dime from them outside the normal share capital that the state subscribe. Because there's no how you want to own a company, you won't pay for your share capital. And when people sit in the radio and be abusing the governor, oh, Ibom Air is owned by James, is owned by Edi, is owned by Eunice, it's all mischief. Ibom Air is owned 99.99% by Akwa Ibom State government. 99.99% by Akwa Ibom State government. It's only that by law of aviation, you must have one shareholder who told either a captain or it must be in aviation line. That's why I said 99.9999%. Because that can only be one shareholder. It could be if AD had been a pilot or he's been in aviation business, aeronautic engineer, they would like that person to be one of the shareholders so that he can guide, because it's one of the most regulated means of moving from one place to another. So let people also see that all amount of sincerity, we are doing the best. Totally different from what is obtainable in other places. We are not looking at what others are doing. As a government, we are making a whole lot of sacrifices to make sure we serve our people. Why? Because we know at the end, we are not only accountable to our people, we are also accountable to God. Because God will always ask you, I gave you a responsibility to look after Akwa Ibom. What did you do with that opportunity? So we're always serving with that in mind. And that's why it seems as if we make a whole lot of sacrifices on our own to get few things done. And I would like to pause there, James.
Yes,
and then take more questions.
Yes, Excellency, we'll take more questions. And of course, we have the other parts of this program where we'll open the phone lines and, of course, go online.
I'm waiting for that, though.
And take all communication. Your Excellency, with your permission, we would like to take a short break. When we come back, our Akwa Ibom people are eagerly waiting to listen to their governor. Okay, so Eddie, let's. Is season 8 of the program, and His Excellency the Governor of Akwa Ibom State, Mr. Udom Emmanuel, is here in the house answering all the questions as they come. And like we said, this program is on air, online or mobile, and will be available to take your calls either online or on the social media platforms. Go to the state website www.akwaibostategov.ng/live. Post your questions there and we'll take them. Okay, gentlemen and lady, before we took that break, His Excellency was talking about education matters. I think we'd like to follow up from there. But let me also inform, in the interest of our radio listeners, you know what I mean, we'd like to give the phone numbers through which you can join us. The numbers are scrolling on the television screen. For radio listeners, 0907 240 5876 or 0808 425 4545. We'll gladly take your questions when the time is now. Okay? Who has the next question?
Okay, I'll do a follow-up question on education. Excuse me. Currently, Akwa Ibom State-owned university, AXO, the lecturers are on strike, owing to some complaints of outstanding payments. And I also read on social media, though you don't like a reference being made to that, some students complaining that they've had to stay on one level of education for more than necessary. What is the mind of your administration as regards issues concerning AXU?
Eunice, thank you. Let me welcome Akwa Ibom again after the short break. The issue of education and AXU is almost like we trying to lay a fresh foundation for a proper tertiary institution at the university education level. It might interest Akwa Ibomites to know, even as a father, if you have a child who has been the number of years AXU had been, by now, I think you should have a little bit of succor. And let me not also go that route and change gear a little. Let's look at AXU also as a private university. If AXU were to be a private university, how many investors could have given AXU the kind of money the state governor gives every month? Of recent past, I've given AXU on the average 327 million naira every month as grant. 327 million naira every month as grant in recent past. How many owners of universities, how many state governments, even the federal government, give that kind of grant to each university in this country? I like to be quoted anywhere. I would like to have the list of how many universities in Nigeria receive that kind of grant every month. 327 million naira every month of recent past that I pump into AXU. That's issue number one. Issue number two, it might also interest Akwa Ibomites to know that lecturers in Akwa Ibom State University receive the highest salary in the whole country called Nigeria. And that's what I inherited. If I make mistake, it's not me, it's the figures that they gave me. You know, figures don't lie. So I'm talking this authoritatively because of the figures that I was given. Going by the figures before me in my office now, we pay the highest amount of salaries to any other university in this whole country, both federal and state. Quote me anywhere, bring your figures, I'll drop my own figures. So now, NUC, they have their own salary scale. The question is, we are not saying we won't pay you or won't do anything. What stops us from going on the same scale every other university goes, assuming there was a mistake ab initio? If the mistake was the fact that they were not paid as much as others, they would have agitated for correction. Now that the mistake that had been made from inception, you understand, is what the state government, they are saying, no, you can't correct the mistake. That's number one. Or that's number three. Then the other issues there comes to the fact that let anybody writing on that social media ask himself, if he were to be an investor, would he continue to feed an investment of those number of years perpetually? Isn't there a point, the investment that you've made supposed to even yield returns? I know people will say education is under social services. Fine, that's why we give grants and so on. But can somebody do me a favor and check other state universities? Don't go too far in the South region. Compare where we are not doing well. Then we can now compare the notes. As of today, you can see even internal roads. Look at how Obiokpa campus was before this administration came into power. Go to Obiokpa campus now. See how we've turned around physical infrastructure of that university. Now we're in the main campus where they will have a permanent site. You can check from the new entrance gate to the roads, even to other things that we are trying to do. So, AXU is our baby. But I want to appeal. And how come a state university that at time zero had an agreement with the state government that they would not allow unionism to affect their primary responsibility of teaching our students. Why should Akwa Ibom State University have two factions of ASU? Is that state government? Is it state government to be blamed that ASU have? And meanwhile, trust us, when it comes to education, we allow free hands. They have a chief executive, we allow free hands. I've never interfered with anything ASU. Ask those who are there, check throughout. I've never one day sent them a cleaner to be hired in ASU, a cleaner as a governor. I've never sent a cleaner there to be hired. I can be quoted. So, judging from that, without me concluding or landing on what I wanted to say, I want to stand in the court of public justice now, but let people judge rightly and say the right thing. I will leave it at that point.
Your Excellency, the ASU situation, the way you painted it, pathetic, I use that word. Now, would the government just fold with arms and watch all this happen without any intervention?
Eddie, I love that question. That's why I say let me leave it and listen and allow people to judge me from there. Government will not. That's why we set up immediately a panel of inquiry into the affairs of that university. As a governor, I wouldn't say things I'm not supposed to say on air. But I promise people the report of that panel will give highlights. We might not only give all the reports because it's a tertiary institution. Our duty is to build, we'll give highlights. But trust me, whatsoever is going on there now is for the benefit and the interest of the state, that we must have a very solid tertiary institution. Mind you, if I don't build strong tertiary institution, whatsoever we are doing from the basic level will not terminate somewhere good. Because we want to set it. You know, in our education agenda, if you read all the items in the agenda on our education system now, it starts from the basic level. We'll take you through the primary under the curriculum, general curriculum. We'll take you through the secondary education under the general curriculum, which will have WAEC, NECO, and all those ones. Once you finish secondary, we start charting a course. If you want to go to Ikorodidem for skill development, for those that might not have the patience to go this way, you go straight to Ikorodidem. Go to Ikorodidem, give us between now and September, and then you judge us from what we are trying to do there. In terms of equipment, quality, services, everything, then you have that option. We are also trying now, the bill will soon go to the House of Assembly, to also turn Ikono into an intermediate school, where when you leave secondary school, we prepare you in that intermediate level before you enter the university, because that's what is needed in Nigeria. You need to prepare people in the intermediate level. At that point, they would have gone through a whole lot of counseling. You would have been able to pick their areas of strength and weaknesses. There are certain people at that intermediate level that pass secondary school that you just discover that they are high flyers in terms of sports and so many other things. So you determine the kind of secondary, tertiary institution you send them to. You determine how you take them up from there. So that's where we'll sift talents, skills, and then get them into our university education system. That's where also we sift talents and skills and put them in our polytechnic to give them that full tertiary institutional education. That's where also we sift talents and skills and make some of them to be teachers that will be in our college of education. That would just be a break, but not necessarily all. There are some after secondary school that can easily go straight to university. Some will go straight to college of education. Some will go straight to polytechnic. But we've set up a panel of inquiry. We are trying to correct everything. But I also want to please make an appeal. Let the lecturers there cooperate with the government. Let's make sure that we have an institution that is strong. As of today, we are still one of the best in the whole country in terms of state universities. We are still one of the best. Look at the number of our courses that are accredited. Super. But have we arrived at where we should be? The answer is no. We want to reach a destination. That's why, you see, in life, it gets to a point, you must stop. You must reappraise and redefine what you're trying to do to actually know whether you're on the right target, you're going to hit the bull's eye or not. At this point, we discover we might not be able necessarily be able to hit the bull's eye. You know, for the fact that we say we are one of the best in the whole country depends on what the country holds. But we don't want to compare ourselves with the country any longer. We want to compare ourselves with the entire universe, because the world now is a global village. So we must prepare our people to also fit in anywhere in the world. So judging from the world, we are trying to reappraise and redefine what do we need to do to hit the bull's eye when it comes to tertiary education. So that's why we have that panel of inquiry, and we mean every business. And trust me, right now, we are still looking. I've still been paying them, but look at that amount of money. Whether I receive statutory allocation or not to, whether I have money or not to, I must release that amount of money. This is just one out of all the institutions we have. It's just one. Grant alone, 327 million naira every month, 327 million. So, Eddie, I should be pitied.
Okay, Eddie, at this point in time, Eunice, we have to turn. It's only really the opportunity to talk to the governor directly. So at this point in time, we'd like to turn the microphone to our Akwa Ibom people, particularly those abroad and even here at home, in the diaspora and here at home. And in the interest of our listeners on radio Akwa Ibom 90.5 FM, Planet 101.1 FM, Inspiration, Atlantic, Comfort, Exile, Redemption, and of course Passion FM. I'd like to repeat the phone number through which you can join us. 0907 240 5876. Let me repeat the number. 0907 240 5876. The second number is 0808 425 4545. 0808 425 4545. Our gatekeeper, Ubund Marcus. Over to you.
Hello.
Good evening.
Hello.
Good evening. Thanks for joining us.
Hello.
You're on air. What's your name?
Tell us your name and where you're calling from.
I'm from Ikono.
From Ikono. What's your name?
My name is Udom.
Okay, go ahead. The governor is listening. Okay, well, go ahead.
I want to reduce my language.
Kaiso?
Kaiso.
Please, make a sit down, excellent down, people. Because I have a problem for myself. A lot, sir.
Okay, well, my number so code. Moko. So I call security, COVID, and related issues.
Okay, let me please make a special appeal for those who have appeal to make. This program is for us to discuss policies of governance. Very many important issues. If you have any appeal to make to the governor or to the government, today is not the day. You can go to the department for branding and marketing and put all your appeals there. Government is doing a lot for training, for empowerment and all that. Please, we will not want to take questions bordering on appeals today.
We have another caller. Hello, good evening. Hello, good evening.
Can I speak with the governor?
Yes, you are. What's your name, sir, and where are you calling in from? Tell us your name and where you're calling. Okay, we've lost that. Hello, good evening.
Hello?
Good evening.
Yeah, evening. Evening.
What's your name?
I'm Micah.
What's your name?
I'm Micah Anta from calling from you.
Micah, go ahead and speak with the government.
Good. I want to thank our Excellency for what is done. All the projects that the governor says is true. All the roads and the infrastructure, he has done it. So I want to please the governor to do more because people are crying. Thank you very much, sir.
Okay.
Thank you, Micah.
When you say people are crying, one does not.
Okay, Micah, let me say something. If you understand a little bit of macroeconomics, at the time of recession like this, how do you stimulate the economy to ease the burden on people? Is you put more on infrastructure, more on capital development. That would generate a whole lot. Every single project site is an employment site in Akwa Ibom today. go in January. I came up on January when I announced that I was going to stimulate the economy with minimum of 50 billion. I ended up stimulating the economy with about 55 billion at one swoop in 1 week. That sung very well. Everywhere became construction site. That is what to do so that people can also key in. If you look at the effects of that, the global effects of that in the state, both direct and indirectly, generates a whole lot of geometric progression of what an economic impact positively could be on people. Last month, just April ending, I also called my people that anyhow, anywhere, we must look for money anywhere and inject at least additional 25 billion into the system. Check all the construction sites, they will tell you. And that's the way to do. Don't expect me to go and get money from anywhere and then come and start giving people one by one. It is not done. That's not an economic principle. And I want to also believe, in that same January, I came up and announced that I want our youths to go back to construction site. I put 1 billion naira on the spot for youth to go back. If you see all the fencing done in all the schools in Uyo, both primary and secondary, they are 100% done by our youths. All 100%. And I dropped 1 billion naira cash. And since then, as people finish, we've been paying. That excludes another money that we drop under SUBEB to, build physical infrastructure for schools. So that's the way we need to put in money. We can't just go to the main street and just throw money in the air. Money is not meant to be done that way. People are to benefit from the money out of the value creation for that money. Okay. So I think that's the answer to that, okay. Micah. So follow through, please.
Well, when we reach the next call, I have a special appeal to make. Please, if you must join this program, the simple rule is turn down the volume of your television or radio set, or you can switch it off. Move away from that set so that we can hear you loud and clear here. Thank you.
Hello, good evening.
Yes, good evening. My name is Ene. I'm calling from Uyo.
Ene, go ahead.
Yes, Your Excellency, please, I want to talk about the security aspect. I remember once Mr. Francis Erabo made a statement while he was presenting a talk on Rotary one time ago, and he said that there is no crime that is international, that every crime is local. So on the issue of security now, is there any way we can come up with a local security like vigilante so that they can mount the border, the entrance of Akwa Ibom State? Because the reason I'm saying this is once it's 11:30, 12 o'clock, you're telling even a bit what from a housing, you only see a checkpoint on the road. Please.
Okay.
That is all I have to say. Thank you.
All right, thank you. What's the name again?
Ene.
Okay, Ene,
Yes.
thank you for your question. But Ene, let me say something. Every security challenge that you have has its own magnitude. And that is like an earthquake. They measure the magnitude of an earthquake to determine the kind of house that can stand and the one that cannot stand. If you look at the magnitude of the present security challenges in the country, how will I put a defenseless youth to mount a border who does not have a gun, only with a stick? That's question number one that you need to also ponder through. It might not be a question, it's an expression. So how will I do that? It means I'm trying to endanger the life of that youth who does not have the people coming are coming with AK-47, coming with all kinds of weapons. I put the youth there just to use something and block the road without anything. That's one way to chew it. Second concern. Assuming you authorize those youths to use anything they want to, how will you demobilize them? How will you demobilize those people? So it's not that easy. You see, if you are a chief executive, God will give you a wisdom to handle certain matters based on the challenges at that point in time. Because I've heard a lot of people coming up with this suggestion. Oh, put the youths, put this, put that. How will you demobilize them? Today, how do we know the security challenges we are facing in different parts of the countries that may not have stemmed out of this? The kind of vigilante that you see us do in our villages, I have one in my village. What they do is they build what they call guard. At a certain point, you can't pass that guard. And those people sit there because they know almost everybody in the village. But when you are talking about a cosmopolitan city, like a major entrance, say interstate and so on, some of those things are federal highways. You cannot just, as a state alone, stop free movement of goods and services, just unilaterally like that. The country is operating under a law. And not necessarily because you are a state governor, you can take laws into your hands. And don't also create something that tomorrow will be a monkey that you cannot tame. And I think I've spoken in a little parable that you may care to understand. By and large, when it comes to security, conventional method is still the best. However, if you so much love your state, love your local government, we will appreciate your intelligence. Under this current security trajectory and spectrum, as you might put it across, it's most likely going to be 70% of it is most likely going to be based on intelligence. So that's where you should play your role. Not necessarily that I must send you to go and block the road when you don't have anything to hold in your hand. If you give us intelligence, we'll go a long way to solve 70% of our problem. Honestly, the security is a little bit peculiar to each of the places, even though it's a challenge across the region, but it has its own peculiarities. So we are looking much more on intelligence. Please give us intelligence, don't give us information. Information, in most cases, have the issue of either being right or wrong. But when it comes to intelligence, it's based on evidence and facts that I know people will tell me that facts do change, but at least facts in this case will have a whole lot of evidence that we must rely on. So as a youth, and then help us with intelligence, you would have done a whole lot for us. In fact, you have done 70% of the job, which is what we are looking for. Thank you.
Hello, good evening.
Hello, good evening.
Good evening. What's your name and where are you calling it from?
My name is Bright and I'm calling in Abak Road.
Bright, can you be more audible, please? The governor is listening.
I said my name is Bright, I'm calling in Abak Road.
Go ahead, sir.
Okay, sir. I want to commend the governor for his love and his words.
Go ahead. Okay, we lost him.
We lost him.
We have another caller. Hello, good evening.
Hello.
Yes, good evening. What's your name and where are you calling in from?
I'm Upe, calling from Uyo.
Sorry, we didn't get your name.
Upe.
Upe, calling from Uyo.
Email Upe. Go ahead.
Please, I have a question for His Excellency.
Go ahead.
Rumor going around why the local government is underdeveloped is that at the state level, they take the money of local government. Is that the correct thing, or the chairman are just fooling the people?
Thank you, because your opening statement tells it all. You say rumor. I'm sure you can't expect a governor to join rumor. So help me not to join in the rumor, please. As you rightly put it, that's a rumor. It's not the true situation. So let us not base things on rumor. Find out whether the governor had ever... The governor is telling you how he's intervening to clear pensioners' arrears, leave allowances. Even when they could not pay salaries in the last 2 months, the governor is helping them pay salaries. So how will the governor now go and take local government money? I mean, come on, it's ridiculous. So I think we should be well guided in some of these rumors, as you put it. Please, if the state government is helping them pay salaries, at what point will the state government now go and collect money from them? Find out from local government joint allocation committee. They will tell you that the allocation they received last month could not pay the salaries and pensions of both local government employees and primary school teachers, that the state government had to come to their help. And we intervened, and that's how they were able to pay. Find out from them that they will tell you the leave allowances that were in arrears, state government had to come to their help. So some of these things, let's look at facts and not still be based on rumors, Mr. Ukwe. Thank you for still expressing your rumors. I even like that you brought your rumors to the open than just believing the rumors behind. And I pray you accept my explanation. Thank you.
Hello, good evening.
Hello, good evening.
What's your name, sir, and where are you calling in from?
My name is Martinez Yusuf. I'm calling from my local government area.
Which local government?
Which local government?
The local government.
Okay.
I want to congratulate my Excellency for what God is giving direction to do in Akwa. God bless you in Jesus' name.
Amen.
My Excellency, the challenge I have in the education sector in Akwa State. The primary school. Then I remember the government. It was primary school. They graduate now. Destroy our money. They not put good structures. Even the floor, they put one back and put the floor for children, and the whole thing is damaged. So, my Excellency, please, the main thing is education. Even the foundation, good foundation for our children, for the future of our Bible state. Thank you. God bless you.
Thank you.
Can you repeat his questions?
He's asking about the state of infrastructure in primary schools.
In primary school
government,
yes.
And then subvention to primary schools in the States.
I guess he must be a primary school teacher. You know, when we are paying subventions, or whatever name you might call it, we don't only restrict it to secondary school, we also pay to primary schools. Even though as I started this program, I explained that our primary responsibility is not on that level. That's supposed to be at local government level, but we don't bother about that. We do everything at the same time for both primary and secondary. The state of infrastructure cannot be corrected in one day. If you look at, we've done over 4,000 interministerial projects in both secondary and primary school, and there's still a whole lot of gap between what is required and what we've done. In fact, what we've just taken decision recently in next school, we want to change all the designs. We'll start from Uyo. So each block now will no longer be carrying 6 classrooms, no. Each block will be a story building because of space, especially within the Uyo metropolis. We'll do a story building that will carry minimum of 12 classrooms per block. Where we can afford both space and money, we'll do 24 at one go. That will give us a shape that will take those 24 so that it can cater for the number of students. I've also made an appeal to people of Uyo that due to the level of, number of students that we have in each of the secondary schools that would like to establish another fresh secondary school, probably towards the Ikono area, but government does not have money to pay compensation for land. I want Uyo to donate land for us towards Ikono to put one more secondary school in that area, because the secondary school we have in that area is not enough based on the number of students that we have. So we don't want students to trek or to go very long distance to go and attend secondary school. So I just believe through my members of ESCO and through the local government chairman, we are hoping that they will get back to us on time, so that at least in the next 1.5 years, we may have put up another secondary school towards that Ikonuyo site to also cater for this. But for your observation on the quality and poor finishes of probably some of the interministerial jobs, I will get my SA projects who's supposed to be checking on the quality. Their duty is to supervise the execution of those jobs. You know, the governor cannot be everywhere at every point in time. It's only God that can be everywhere at any point in time, not the governor. But through our supervisors, I'm sure the Secretary to the State Government is listening to you, the Chief of Staff is listening, and the Commissioner for Finance, who is also the Interministerial Direct Labor Coordinating Committee, is under his ministry. So I'm sure they will deploy all the ASAs that we have, SA projects, to get to the field and make sure they supervise the quality of finishes on this job. My own duty is to go and look for money to give to people to do the job. It's their own duty to supervise and get the job done. Thank you for that observation.
Hello, good evening.
Good evening, Mr. Excellency.
You're welcome. What's your name, sir?
My name is Udom Emmanuel. Calling from Orogonam.
Okay, go ahead, sir.
I want to use the medium to congratulate the Excellency for the job well done. Let me also thank you for the immediate recruitment or ongoing recruitment of teachers. But I want to also sincerely to use the opportunity to remind the Excellency about 2018 civil service recruitment. That portal that was open, but immediately after that one, there was nothing going on again. Please, I want to use this opportunity to make an appeal to the Excellency to also open embargo on the recruitment of the civil service. Thank you, sir.
Thank you. If I've done one just 2018, between 2018 and now, we've had 2 major recessions, plus the pandemic. You should even be, I thank you for acknowledging what we've done, but recruitment must also be backed up with ability to pay. And I started this program by saying that no government on planet Earth had ever provided jobs for all the citizens. Else America would have provided jobs for over 350 million people. And probably Bank of America, Wells Fargo, Goldman Sachs would not have had people to recruit. So, but please, as government is also helping, let's call on even our citizens too. Let's see what we can do to help everybody. We've come to an era where people should rather buy a tractor to put in the farm, to produce something and get people employed, than buy expensive jeeps. Nigeria should get back to that point. If you go to China, even as robust as the economy is, the bulk of the people there are riding bicycle. The bulk are riding bicycle in China, or a very tiny Vespa, tiny motorcycle, and it moves them from one place to another. You see somebody on that tiny motorcycle, and the person is worth close to $100 million, and he doesn't mind. So there are a lot of, changes that will come through our mindset for us to be able to launch a proper economic revolution in the country and then get things out that will support our political structure. Thank you. Next question.
Hello, good evening.
Very good evening.
Good evening. What's your name and where are you calling it from?
I am calling from Eket. My name is Udom Jr. Very good evening, His Excellency.
Good evening, Ubong.
Okay. His Excellency, please, with due respect, I have to commend you very highly for the work you're doing in Akwa Ibom State. And I ask God Almighty to give you the grace to execute. Amen. That is my humble prayer.
Thank you.
My Excellency, with due respect to you, I want to ask, as a strong, or as a key holder, a stakeholder in this country and a key member in the Nigerian Governors Forum, I want to ask, is it proper not to respect the Nigerian Constitution as 1999 as amended? Because in regards to the financial autonomy of the judiciary, it seems that the Nigerian Constitution is being negotiated. And I want to ask with due respect, you people have been having series of meetings. What has been your contribution? Because I would like you to be a space setter as far as Akwa Ibom State is concerned. That is my humble question. So what has been your contribution?
Okay.
Thank you.
Ubong, thank you. I might not be a lawyer, but check again. You are referring to the Nigerian Constitution. Are you sure what you're saying is embedded in the Constitution? Check again, and then you can send me a personal note. Let me not take you on in the public. That's number one. Then number two, we are just one of the 36 states. No matter what we have in mind to do, we cannot just come out and do it out of the 36 states. We must fall in line as one body. But it might also interest you to know that under the, if you are trying to quote the law and everything, if you look at the labor law and all the cases decided, it's supposed to be no work, no pay. If you are a member of, is it Josun or whatever you call, you've not gone to work for 3 months, but I've been paying you full salaries. I've never even stopped your interest. I've not stopped releasing capital votes to you people. So I don't know where you find me wanting here. I'm still paying you in full. I'm still paying your salaries. But we must also know something here. You know, at times, I was a morotie conveniently. I am rather dada. After consequences, the honorable game might transfer responsibilities. He move gratuity, he move pensions, he move salary, he move leave allowances, he move capital expenditure, he move judiciary. I'm not sure you gotta handle. This is the question. I will be with them for 1 unit of Prado and the Menugbe Kefaina in the market. And mind you, Aburukbe, as you are buying, and I go on what we call higher purchase. I'm not on higher purchase. Going to pay 50 million naira. You might likely end up at 65 million because of on higher purchase. So find out first, because there are certain things a state government can do, which an arm of government might not be able to do. Then one check your borrowing capacity. Because they might pass pension, gratuity, salaries, interest, capital expenditure, maintenance, all overhead costs. Find out. I mess it cop. I'm in Idom. I do a different ball game. So, I mean, my contribution on this matter is that if a decision is taken tomorrow, I will implement it to the letter. But I can tell you that we are doing much better than the decision that you people are about to reach. That's my final comment here.
Okay, Udom, while still turning the microphone to the public, I'd like to, in the interest of our radio listeners, remind us of the numbers through which you can join us. 0907 240 5876 and 0808 425 4545. But before we take the call, Your Excellency, someone sent a text and it borders one of the questions we wanted to ask you here. It's about the fact that since you came into governance in 2015, we've seen a gradual reduction in the price of foodstuff. And we recall that something about 3 years ago, you made the promise that before the end of your administration in 2023, about 80% of what we consume here will be produced here. But, we just noticed this year, the high price of Gary. High price of Gary. I know we are in the farming season. What is government doing to make sure this return to normalcy?
James, I must thank you for whoever sent that text message. It would have escaped me. If there's one area we've invested a whole lot in this state, is agri. But I also want to make an appeal. Whatsoever you're seeing now in terms of high price of Gary is arbitrary. Let me say here, we provide the inputs to the farmers, and right now I even have a memo which we've discussed in ESCO for us to provide fertilizers. So if we provide all the inputs, why can't the output be cheap? It is because the union had come together and fixed a price for themselves. Let me give you a classical example. Towards Christmas of last year, 2020, you can quote me anywhere, a bag of rice was going for as high as 36,000, 37,000. And what did we do? We opened our reserves. We brought out 30,000 bags of rice in one day. That's by next day, the price of rice dropped to 23,000. So, unfortunately, because Gari is the most staple food in Akwa Ibom, even in Nigeria, I didn't want to still continue with that control. There was a time we were also running all our Gari processing factories and we were offloading directly to the market. So the union complained and so on. Now, I don't go to the market every day, but the feedback I'm getting, because I'm not that kind of governor, I have feedback in everything. The feedback I'm getting is that the union people are complaining that when they sell the Gari cheap in the market or cheaper, they go to buy other items in a very expensive manner. So they are trying to sell in line with inflation, not in line with the support that we are giving. Be rest assured that what we have put into our Greek would have actually made the price crash much further. And in every executive council meeting, the Commissioner for Agri must also give us reports on what inputs we have done one by one. Let me also take you back, memory lane. Last year, we had issues in the whole country. Akwa Ibom people, we got to understand that there was nothing like onions in the market. You go to the market, a piece of onions was exorbitant. What did we do as a people? We immediately went back into our research laboratory. We did, a demonstration, planting. We took the greenhouse to do one, and then we tried one outside. As of today, I can tell you that within a short period, we're going to harvest about 2,000 hectares of onions alone
in Akwa
Ibom State, which before now, nobody ever thought that onions could be produced here. Another food that is a little bit challenging, which I've also charged our people, that we must get the right seeds and distribute free of charge, because anywhere that cucumber can grow, anywhere watermelon can grow, naturally, I'm not an agriculturist, I'm not an agri-scientist, but my common sense will tell me in such a place also beans should grow. So the high cost of beans now is also what I'm challenging them, that let them understudy at what period of the year can we plant beans to have a good yield. So once that is done, we're going to procure the inputs and try to see how much we can pump into the market. You could see that we are not resting every minute. That's why everywhere you see, even the youths, these days you have the youth farm. Why are we setting up the tomato puree plant? It's because a lot of tomato, pepper, cucumber that we are producing these days, we need to process it so that people can actually make use of it in and out of season. So that's why we are actually setting up this. So talking about the price of foodstuff, is mainly Gary. That is the issue here. It's mainly Gary. And I want to believe, and I want to make an appeal to the union, that please, government is providing the input. We procured improved cassava stem and distributed. Other inputs we've distributed. Even fertilizer we subsidize. So we are doing this so that our people can also benefit in terms of cost. And if Gary is the major staple food in this state, so please let them also help us. But if we make this appeal and it does not work, then we'll intervene through cooperative societies. So what we'll do is we set up cooperatives. So control our input and then control our output. But that case will not also allow what I call appropriate pricing at the open market level. And I don't want to do that because I allow the interplay of the market forces to take its course so that full economics can also come to play. So you take from the right hand, you also give it from the left hand. So let people accept it that way. But please, if we don't want it that way, probably we might need to change what we do and then get the right.
I think we have the first.
Thank you, sir. I wait.
Okay.
I'm here.
Yeah, good evening. What's your name?
Yeah, good evening. My name is Akwa.
Okay, go ahead.
Yeah, my question for the Excellency. I first of all want to thank him and appreciate him for what he has done. I know it's not easy to be a leader, especially in a country of ours that is so much torn apart due to some internal problems or sometimes external problems. So I really give him credit for that, for the ability for him to develop some shock absorber. My question for him is on projects. I did not hear him mention anything about completion of projects that were abandoned either by immediate past administration or previous administrations. Could he shed more light on that? Because there are so many projects
can you lead us right?
The current administration key into completing them.
What's his name?
It might be for lead to the greater good of the state and of course the country in general, and also the development of the young people. I didn't hear him say that. And another question I have is on security. I know he may not be able to tell us a lot.
Leave him.
Okay. Yes, sir.
Okay, Parawa, where are you calling in from, first of all?
I'm calling from Baltimore, US.
Okay. His Excellency wants you to take it one at a time. What's the second question?
My second question is on security. Okay. I know that he may not be able to say a lot in the public about the process of security and what he is putting in place about the security of the state, especially with what is going on in the country now concerning insecurity in the state. This issue of destroying police properties and killing police officers, I know that it will be very difficult for people to come out of states to do this. Is there any measure on grounds to checkmate this internally and make sure that community policing could help to solve some of these problems? Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Your first question was on abandoned project. I don't know what you refer to as abandoned project. Let me take you first. In Uyo, the Tropicana Mall, we came in, we brought in private investors, we sorted that out, and if you go there now, it's like any mall you can have in Baltimore that you are referring to. So that's number one. Number two, if you check, Sheraton by 4 points in Ikorek Bene, when we came into power, it was 64% completion. You can quote me anywhere. We have hotel evaluation report on it, 64% completion. Today, it's about 99.5% complete. The remaining 0.5 is just the fact that because of the situation, the chief executive, if you check in the internet, you see that Starwood have actually advertised vacancies on Sheraton by Sheraton by 4 points in Ikorek, and they've advertised the vacancies. And the chief executive they were to give us was to come from one of the countries that is really ravaged now by coronavirus. So we said, no, let's have another chief executive. So they're in the process of, Starwood has about 32 in their chain. So it's not that easy to get things done and change of management agreement. Then finally also, I haven't put in that much. We're the owners of the assets. We put in so much money. As a businessman, it will be difficult for me to go along with the agreement where initially I thought they were going to also bring money to put in the assets. But now I've provided everything because I didn't want the same question to come up at the tail end of my days in office that, oh, you didn't complete this project. So I'm putting a whole lot. It might interest you also to know, Akbarawa, that for us to even stay with Sheraton by 4 points as a brand, I was surcharged $7.2 million. It must also interest you to know, for Marriott Group or Starwood Group to come and manage that place, I must provide down payment of working capital of $3 million. But even upon that, we've completed that hotel now. Let the Akwa people know that a building is not a hotel until what we've done of recent. A building is just an ordinary brick and mortar. What makes a hotel is what we're doing right now. That's why I say it's 99.5% complete. So that's what makes a hotel. Don't call a building a hotel. And then the Tropicana Mall wasn't a mall until we've done what we are doing now. The one probably you might be referring to, which we are not doing right now, is what we call the International Conference Center. Number one, a state in a country that have been ravaged by recession, 2 major recessions plus pandemic, you cannot fund our capital project. So our ability to fund that is not there. Thirdly, if we fund it now, we must know the economic value. If you look at the projects we are carrying and initiating as a government, we must see the in and out of that project. That's why we are bordering on projects that are revenue generating in nature, except other social services that we must provide. But when it gets to project, take for example, if you are talking the MRO, that we're investing a whole lot of money trying to complete that MRO, it's going to generate revenue and pay for itself. As of today, I have 3 major aviation companies who are interested in partnering with us on the MRO. One of them is Airbus. Mitsubishi from Canada is also interested. I'm happy to announce this on air. If people like, they can write and tell them not to come until Udom leaves office. It doesn't matter. They can only come because I'm here. They will still come. So you could see we are going on those projects because we are going to make money. If you look at our terminal building, once we finish, we'll frame it out. People will manage it, and then you will see when we create the aviation hub, how much of the revenue will be generating from there. So there's a whole lot that we're doing that are purely revenue generating. The stadium that we are building in Eket, which will put the tartan tracks now, it remains only the floodlights. It's one of the finest stadia you can find at a very minimal cost. Find out how much are we putting there. Then you see that by the time our local teams, now we are the only state in this country with 2 teams in the Premier Division. So we'll be charging, we'll generate revenue because that stadium can easily be managed by a private sector driven something. So we're looking at, value for money, revenue generation. Is it the coconut virgin oil refinery? Our problem there will be production, not sales. We already have offtake for everything we produce. Even if we do 100,000 tons a week, everything will go in that same week, and the state government will earn money. So I can go on and on and on, but I would like you to mention one project that we abandoned. The Uyi-Korek-Bene Road, when we came into power, I'd already seen a whole lot of money gone. And that was a contract that started at 29 billion, reviewed to 52 billion, further reviewed to 72 billion. And by the time we came, 16.8 billion was gone. So we still finished the project. Like today when I announced at the stakeholders meeting, the only thing remaining is just for me to do an outfall drain. So I did not abandon it. Rather, I still found money to execute the project, even though I didn't get any money from it. So 16.8 billion was gone. Is it the specialist hospital? Go and check what we put in there. Today, medical practitioners will tell you the intensive care theater there is one of the best in the whole of West Africa. Quote me anywhere. I'm not used to boasting, but go there. From the lighting, find out from medical experts, not social media, from medical experts, the kind of intensive care unit we have at the Ibom Specialty Hospital. You come back and know what we are doing. Go and check the kind of dialysis machines that we put in there. So it's a gradual thing. We will get it. And mind you, House of Assembly members will tell you that it is by this our regime that we roofed that hospital. It wasn't roofed. So when you say we abandoned, I don't see any project that we've abandoned. Rather, we are carrying on. And today, we've put on what I call private PCR screening center at the Ibom Specialty Hospital. We will be the first state to have such screening that is private sector driven. So it will be owned by what we call Ibom Specialist Hospital Limited. They will generate revenue for this hospital, and that revenue will be used to, do an upkeep. So I can go on and on and on. I like questions like this that throw out the best in me. So you could see that there's nothing we do in this state that I don't have in my fingertips. Okay. I can account for every single thing that we've done. Thank you, Akbarawa, for kicking me out there.
Unfortunately, we have less than 10 minutes ago, and we have a tradition on this program. Equals roof up. Parambangam boss security and Nyama for Tang goes roof or no beer. I will make Benam dear, Ibom. Many younger youth council getting Parawas and Dumbo before the Excellency, that will be the conclusion. One pertinent question we would like to raise up here is that I know it's too early to talk about politics, but we do know that the politics of 2023 is underway. And of recent, I don't like talking about the social media like it is going on everyone here, but we've seen in the social media possible names thrown up and down about your succession plan. You told us that prayers on the way and God will lead you to who will be your successor. Your Excellency has God spoken.
James, I think you're on the right track. You say prayers are ongoing, that God will lead me. So, you see, once you hand over something to God, you suffer what I call spiritual paralysis. You can't hand something to God and then try to struggle again as a man. So, allow God to lead the way and get to the point. But let me also make a point here, which I've also announced. David said in the book of Kings, 1 Kings, he said that he has many sons. But for the who will sit on the throne is only one, and that happened to be Solomon. So let the Akwa people know, every single aspirant, as you might call them now, anybody who is even nursing ambition, they are all Akwa Ibomites, and they are all my friends and my brothers. Let people not try to make as if there's enmity somewhere. There's no enmity at all. But trust me, one thing I know for life, even though politics is one place that there's no room for those, says the Lord, in politics. But whether we like it or not, Jesus Christ concluded when he taught us how to pray. He said, for thine is the kingdom, the power, and the glory. So no matter what we do or what we say as a people, it is God who will. Remember that woman with the sons of Zebedee that went to Jesus Christ. He said, I have two sons. Among my two sons, tell me, who will sit on, can you let one of them sit on your right or one of them sit? Do you remember what Jesus Christ answered in the book of Matthew? He said, who sits on my left or on my right is not my decision, but it's the decision of my Father. So please, whoever becomes the governor of Akwa Ibom State is not my own decision, because I'm not the owner of the power. The owner of the power will determine who sits on the seat of Udom Emmanuel. My own is to follow. There's a song we used to sing in those days in the primary school. We say, wherever he leads me, I will follow. Jesus will lead me day by day. I don't go into something I don't own. I don't own power. The owner of the power knows what to do with his own. My own is to follow the instruction. And when time comes, I'll tell them that, look, this is where he wants me to go. But mind you, I said so at the stakeholders meeting today. Saul made a mistake. He said, because of people, I disobeyed. Pressure of people, pressure of any kind will not make me disobey the direction of the Holy Spirit in this matter. I will follow through, because when Saul disobeyed, he was the one that carried all the consequences. The people who advised him otherwise did not go through that. Eddie, you have the final question?
Thank you, sir. Yes, Your Excellency. Thank you for the opportunity. 8 years, 6 gone, 2 to go. In case of any stroke of unforeseen circumstances, all these projects embodied in your 8-point completion agenda can't come through. Your Excellency, could you just count on your fingertips the must-do ones?
The must-do. First of all, if I pick the must-do, I must have lost faith along the line. And that would be what I call contradiction of belief. Eddie, I assure you, all projects that are relevant to the economy of Akwa Ibom State will be completed. I think that's the final answer I have there. All projects that are relevant today to the economy of this state will all be completed. If I say anything to the contrary, they must do, will be contradiction of belief. So I don't do that. Thank you.
Your Excellency, a gentleman on social media, Kaniyin Udomsa, is finding out the state of affairs in the Ibom Blue Sea Science Park project.
Yes. I like that question. Ibom Blue Science project was a partnership between us and Chinese government. If you check, even the ambassador of China was there making a commitment, making a speech. They came with the company. It was a partnership. Check now, since COVID started in China, a lot of Chinese people, nobody leaves China if it's not vaccinated. And China is one country that all the vaccines they manufacture, they consume themselves. So only God knows when they will finish vaccination for 1.4 billion of their citizens, for their citizens to start moving freely. They are not moving that freely. It's not something the investor can come alone. He must still come with his own team. It wasn't just Akwa Ibom State government project. It was a partnership with Chinese government. That's why even the ambassador of China was here alone to make a clear statement. And let me also say something here. Something about development does not begin and end in one administration. For the fact that I'll leave office in the next 2 years, assuming they don't finish that project, that does not make Udom Emmanuel not to be an Akwa Ibomite. Please, at any point in time, I'll be so willing. If those investors want me to talk to them or anything, I will still be so willing to use my private sector connections to still bring more, even more, because by then I will have more time to even bring more investors to the state. Because whether we like it or not, we must change the narrative. We're already on the right path. We must change the narrative. We are tired of being purely a civil service state where everybody's just looking at the gate of the government house. No. We must build a strong and viral economy for the state. And it must be private sector driven. In other developed economies, government look into the hands of the citizens for survival. But in Africa, citizens look into the purse of the government for survival. Come on. We must do what I call a turnaround. And that can only come if all hands must be on deck. You know, I made a commitment here that even when I leave office, that I will do a whole lot to help humanity, because I've seen the burden on our people as Africans. So it doesn't actually matter. Even if they don't complete in the next 2 years, I'm sure they will still like to talk to me based on not only that project, several other projects that are coming. There are some that we are not unveiling. People will just wake up one morning and just see it like a miracle. There are a whole lot of that we are not unveiling at all. Because we are beginning to see where once we unveil something, petition writers start writing petition. Oh, why not wait until he leaves office? As if it's about Udom Emmanuel. How are you sure if I leave office, the same set of people will still come? Are you sure? It's not because I'm here that they are willing to come to assist. So when people write some of those petitions, oh wait, when he leaves office, you can now come. Do you know what will happen tomorrow? Do you know whether those people will still be there? Is Udom Emmanuel going to work there again? Nobody can employ me again. I'm getting close to 60 very soon. So nobody can employ me again at this time. I'm almost at retirement age. So everything I do now has to be for me to make use of my brain, my laptop, and whatsoever I have to help the people, to help humanity. That's what I'll be living for. So some of these projects will still continue. We are laying just a foundation. It will continue. So, like the ammonia fertilizer plant, we are only commissioned phase 1 by 2023. Other phases will come after I must have left office. Ibom deep sea port will continue. But the question there is, the investors that we've committed will still be there. So don't be afraid at all. We are still all Akwa Ibomites. We must do all we can to help our people and help our state stand strong on those economic pillars.
Excellency, you have like 5 minutes to run off.
5 minutes to run off.
Before you go to Rufo.
James, you like me to...
Because Rufo,
you like me to always run up in the vernacular.
Yes.
Well, you need to talk about your city. Usenifan abo yokemi. Omiya we no messages. FNITD. Eba se mako. Mno we see for police station. It would be your police. I don't bomb on TT because careful free tear gets them. Staying in me and but I don't think but the Pagaron can stay in a secure game back. A member go back and not staying. Remember about staying, you don't remember that one or go Bible. But not as the world give it. Peace of the Lord. But this is no. Amen. But even though Basema no amen. In our may take laws into their hands. I make them the may try the time combo. Kekawado poly work say what here I wait organization or the exist. Organization might get dissolved. Since last year. The Ibom fund. I was the war but game represent that organization. That's criminality. So but get me borrow on that pedestal. You see, don't get down about James. The government and I number again intelligence. But so far. Intelligence Ibom, Ibom book at form say you kono say more get tried it on young bio member went through. Buse say my namumi angoru kem mesenam kem mosority, but unfortunately I'm already succeed. Ekono nitonyen edong. That's the only difference. Ndo basi ndio many sponsor Ibom ndio okay. Intelligence is a mighty doka. Who's an intelligence in a mass material? Yando doubly sure because at this level the governor okay can borrow the young. Who's in mind young for sure beyond any reasonable doubt. Many it's no buck. It's your cock or it's young boy can on through no Ibonum. I told quite boom. Yana for radio and ye the young would do enemy. Nyan Taikamba swa stay maybe rule. Even though the koi review. Mendio work is on record. You go if you maybe make a capai no monofed. That's why I come back down on the warning. Ben back down the warning bombok. Again in the Yaxi Dongami, Abante, a civil war. Civil war. A comma de Wana, ke Nigeria me, ke Yoku, down in the road to win. Maintaining the onion, get an corner, don't wanna get. Taken a Euro wekan. Ken Kanginum. Uka Westego. Mukang not go. It don't beg you to go. And unfortunately, they don't okay reconstruction. Are we in onion bond the girl? Are we in onion bond the girl? For the Biargan gang and we can onion bond the kid. Please, Mbok, go Biat Mbo singing the bofen in Amino because Abitangian. Even you can want to give onion. I'm from over away to me over Jonathan Agbegado, the best president. Same Jonathan, I'm going to get done with men with a Biarabia. I'm from me, Mewedi Bob coming. Even remind so you can you depend Ibian Bunyan, you can the Kenya Dado, Monoka for Catado West and so on. A Patrick on Rigas a mammo, can you goody them again? I can get Boromanian Fena on as a yem, Tanko in Onion, Imium Avenue, Sibidion, Sidon Fena, Yama war bold Lady Bunyan, could miss Sidon Fena, or could miss a memoyem, then from there, as government Yadi on Sinam. Bema da much case army would know what for would do, I do it, I do a bear, I do Yineka, I do you know. So, I mean, consider them for. I think going to wait there were friendly. So if on no yaro mbo, men appeal no Monty Kama, Okara ke local government. I'm my dog on Barawa, my senior information. Yasi nam ni dion getini. Edeka voto idong akara wodo can also cut up band they don't know for. That's the main reason of when I'm in dion. So I quickly so would also cut the free mini. They don't know for. I did talk about for my one said, oh, you don't those who don't. But what about so good? I mean, you about them, say, I'm not in dion. So that you live about what you I didn't so. And I'm so about them. I for the near wo. And so okay, you don't take back one bio okay, but an idea. So for now, guested. Boma give us security. Opinion. And you don't interested. Okay, security. After wo because who the okay, damn bomb yes and madam. Kese basing on you know the Egyptians you see today, you see them no more. Monsignor to logo meriang udoke abasi. And also take control, take charge. Equal security, we see dang a free man. So kuyam dang Canada. So John James.
For the Excellency. The song it there. I didn't karam for. Well, Akwabomite, wherever you are listening us to us, watching us online, on air, on mobile. Global citizen, wherever you are, we're about coming to full cycle. We'd like, in a very special way, to thank His Excellency, the Governor of Akwa, Mr. Udom Emmanuel, who transparently comes out often like this to speak to his people. Your Excellency, occasions like this have to calm the nerves, have to bring people closer to the government, and it's also like a feedback mechanism. On behalf of this panel comprising myself, James Edet, Eddie Ekpenyong, Eunice Gareva, Ubun Marcus, and on behalf of the general managers of Planet FM, Inspiration FM, Atlantic, Comfort, Excel, Redemption, and of course Passion FM, we thank you so very much for finding time out of your very tight schedule to be on this media chat, all in the interest of Akwa Ibom people. Your Excellency, permit me to also, in a very special way, thank members of your team who came here, the Secretary to the State Government, Dr. Emmanuel Akwa, your Chief of Staff, Akbarawa from Yangayan, and of course the Chief Executive Producer of this program, Comrade Ibom, Commissioner for Information and Strategy, and of course Mr. Kere Tudo, who helped to cross the T's with the questions, some of the questions, and not forgetting the producer, the Director General of Akwa Broadcasting Corporation, who is the mother broadcaster of this program, Pastor and Thank you very much. And on behalf of all of us here, everyone, we have to make this program a success. My name is James Edet. I thank you for staying tuned. And of course, we do know that His Excellency, being a promise keeper, will return when he has the time. Thank you, Excellency.
Thank you so much. Let me thank all Akwa Ibomites. Thank you for the patience of listening to us in the past 2 hours. You were unable to take your questions, so please be rest assured. Once AKBC provides the platform, I'll be back soon. Let me thank the members of the technical team, my electronic media guys, my ICT guys, the cameramen, the print, the electronic, and the social media. All of you, I want to thank our Akwa Ibomites outside Nigeria who listen to us. Please, everything we've said today, you can see I didn't come with a piece of paper. So it's not that somebody prepared something for me to come and read. Everything I've said is the fact that we're on top of every situation. Trust us. Bando governor in has a full-time job. So we're on top of every situation. We must take this state to the final destination. And the responsibility is on all of us. Thank you and God bless you. I pray for our citizens wherever they are. May you prosper.
Amen.
May God protect all of us and keep us.
Amen.
And make us to be the star anywhere we find ourselves.
Amen.
In Jesus' mighty name.
Amen. Amen.